when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Morning, Tobago, and welcome this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. It's a beautiful, slightly overcast morning here in downtown Scarborough, Tobago. We're coming to you live from the third floor of the Port Mall, and we're really happy to be in your company. Viewers, I am Ria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad. Those of you viewing in the Caribbean and those of you on the live, we cannot forget you on the live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, Julian is going to be with us shortly, but like we always say, it's going to be a beautiful morning here with you. It's going to be a beautiful day, and we've got quite an interesting show planned for you today. But before we get into what's happening in the day, before we get into what's happening on the show today, we want to head on over into news in just a little bit. But even while we're organizing here, even while we do that, we just want to mention, I'm not sure how many of you were privy to that video that's been circulating on social media with alleged police officer in Trinidad, an altercation between an alleged police officer who did not identify himself at any point, and a traffic warden in Trinidad, in Port of Spain, Trinidad. We want to get your thoughts on that this morning. You can share your thoughts on the live. We'd certainly love to hear what you have to say on it, because it's left some of us outraged. It's left us, mistrusting the people who are in place to protect and serve. And if you can't trust them, what do you do? What do you do when you cannot trust a police officer who is there to protect and serve? This went south really quickly, I have to say, but we'd love to get your thoughts on that matter. So like I said, we're going to head on over at this time into news in 90 seconds with Chanel.
Oh, thank you so much, Ria. And this is your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, the 31st of January. Cats and Jammers topped the preliminary competitions for the Panorama Pan-Trinbago released the official results yesterday, confirming the advancement of the 3 Tobago bands to the semifinals of the competition. In fact, all the Tobago bands placed in the top 10. Cats and Jammers scored the most points for their rendition of Tell Me Why, placing 6th in the competition, and while another band from Tobago, Carib Dixieland, with their performance of Lorraine, and were in the 10th place, was NGC Steel Explosion portraying Out and Bad. Additionally, engine troubles on board of the Buku Reef caused 2 sailings to be cancelled yesterday. The vessel departed Port of Spain in time for 8 a.m. However, 1 hour into the journey, engineers on board noticed a strange knocking coming from the engine room and decided to return to the port for a diagnostic test. But the vessel was unable to dock right away because the cruise ship was in the port, causing passengers to remain on board until 12:30 p.m. Those passengers were later placed on the APT James vessel. Meanwhile, diagnostics tests revealed that faulty pumps caused the problems on the Buku Reef ferry. It is expected that regular sailings would resume on Wednesday, the 1st of February. And finally, the Ministry of Education promised to address concerns regarding the recruitment of teachers of the nominal schools by the Teaching Service Commissions. The promise came after the Santana de Maha Sabah sent a pre-action protocol letter to the Teaching Service Commission, and the Minister of Education, Dr. Naya Gaspidoli, alleged that an unlawful and unconscionable change to the recruitment process is to be made immediately. At the press conference yesterday, Gaspidoli stated that they hosted a meeting involving the Teaching Service Commission and the school board towards a resolution. She said that there is another meeting set for some time this week and that they will be moving towards a solution to the problem. The purpose of the final meeting, she said, is to iron out the issues surrounding the process. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Thank you, Ria.
Thank you so much there, Chanel. Thank you so much there, Chanel. A lot's happening here within the Tobago space. Thank you so much for the information. Well, viewers joining us at this time, we've got Julian Skeet. Julian Skeet, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Ria. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well. Julian, I know it was a nippy morning. Is it that you had difficulty getting out from under the covers? Did she have you so tightly wrapped that, okay, I'm not sure. But finally you're here.
Moved beyond words. well, certainly we can all agree the temperature this time around is definitely ACs are not even on, and the place is feeling extremely cold. Couple that with late nights in the season. Oh, what a time indeed. The private events, the larger events. Wow, an interesting time. But I'm ensuring, Ria, that I try to keep abreast of what's happening with the season, that I try to keep up with what's happening with the season.
Always happy to hear, Julian. Always happy to hear. All right, so what else has been happening within the Tobago space?
Well, I see that we have some of the usual challenges, and I particularly wanted to send some commendations out to Cal. What appeared to be a smooth flow, this weekend. And I have to say what appeared to be a smooth flow. And then, on the flip side, you're hearing this. So commendations and kudos going out to Carl. And I trust that with the increased flight offerings that we hope and we anticipate for coming into the carnival season, we saw that they've put on additional flights coming to Port of Spain. I'm hoping once again, similarly, as the cry and the call continues to go out, that similar offerings can happen in terms of more flights, more regular flights between Trinidad and Tobago. I continue to emphasize the point that at the end of the day, travel for us between Trinidad and Tobago, in more instances rather than less as compared to travel from those who may come across the vacation, it's generally for business or some commitment, and we get in some leisure in the mix under the circumstances. So just a reminder out there. So kudos with the efficient service this weekend, but definitely, Carl, a reminder, we need more flights. I don't know how else to put it simply. And then we hear the situation in terms of the boat and the ferry. Always a very uncomfortable position in the circumstances. And, persons sometimes complain that they're on the vessel and you kind of don't know what's going on for some time, which makes it even more unsettling for you under the circumstances. It reminds me of the time when I was in Trinidad recently with the whole airport having to be evacuated. I was in the mix there.
No information.
Yeah, getting in, and you're not getting any details or information. In fact, you're getting your updates from the news. While you are at the airport itself, you're sitting in the departure lounge, you're seeing people being taken off the plane, you're not allowed to be entered, and then everybody's rushed out, and you say to yourself, wow, something serious is happening.
Yeah.
And then you're only able to confirm it by the time you see it in the news.
Unfortunately, and not only are we asking for extra flights, but we're looking for the information in a timely fashion so persons can now book accordingly. Too often these extra flights come on after you've been waiting and watching and not seeing anything, and then you hear there were extra flights. So in a timely fashion, Carl, in a timely fashion. Correct.
So we're really asking that be, some emphasis be given there.
Yeah.
To ensure that it's done in a timely fashion. But outside of that, very, very interesting times ahead. I look at the politics and I smile. I follow the politics. And I smile. The opposition leader, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, she said she feels like Hulk. I saw that quoted from one of our meetings quite recently. And I suspect Prime Minister Keith Rowley might have an alternative view in the circumstances. But it's always a very interesting dynamics. I long to see the days where we will see the friendly rivalry and not the level of animosity that is now displayed. And when I talk friendly rivalry, I speak to the times of Basdio Pandey and Patrick Manning, may his soul rest in peace. Really, at the end of the day, they were on different political sides.
Yes.
But I did not gather that they were enemies or fiercely opposed, or, I didn't gather that at all. I could be wrong, but I just didn't gather that at all.
Well, I think back then too, Julian, there was a different level of politics being administered, and persons operated with a different level of integrity. So it's almost like a relationship where we could be, a marriage even, you're upset, but the world does not need to know just how deeply upset you are. So when friends come over, you smile, how you doing? And there's a way to do things.
Yeah, and I make the same call to Chief Secretary Farley and Minority Leader Kelvon, because we were all in class together at Bishop's. And I say, please, let good sense prevail, even though you hold different political associations. Yes. Let good sense prevail, and Tobago remains in focus in trying to make that difference here in our society.
All right. Well, Julian, let's get right into what's coming up on the program today. It's Tuesday. We've got the youth program coming up tomorrow. But today, certainly, we continue the discussion on Carnival, the upcoming Carnival, and we've got just about 2 weeks to go. I know you're on top of the game. Just about 2 weeks, yeah?
Just about 2 weeks. Just about two weeks.
Yeah,
all right, so we're looking forward to that. Who do we have starting us off this morning, Rhea?
So we start things off this morning with chatting with Jessie Taylor, who's the cultural officer too at the Division of Tourism Culture. We're going to be talking about Carnival 2023 in the East, what's happening in the East. Now, I know that quite recently there was some controversy over that Carnival Sunday and some of the events, one particular event that was being planned for that Sunday. And the churches in the East were rising up. And I'm happy to say, I'm really happy to hear that churches were standing up against this activity being taking place on this Sunday. And I think this was for Juve to have taken place on that Sunday, and the churches were rising up against it. So they've made some shifts. Jessie Taylor is going to tell us a little bit more about that. And so we're going to have an idea of what are some of the events that are going to be taking place in the East. I have to say, I love where the parade grounds out at Backlet at the stadium that is now being used to house a lot of the carnival activities. So you build a stage and it remains there for several of the activities.
Certainly.
All right.
Certainly. So there's an opportunity in terms of really being able to utilize the space. We also are going to be getting some insights into the medium band finals in Tobago. And we'll be chatting with Beverly Ramsey Moore, president of Pan Trinbago.
And Candice is there right now. I'm not sure we're going to be connecting with her. Yes, we are going to be connecting with Candice right there.
Thank you, Rhea and Julian. Yes, I am Candice Jackson, and I am here at the parade grounds in Bacalet, right next to the Dwight York Stadium, where we are getting ready for the showdown in Pan. And I am going to tell you all about it when we come back later on in this show. So, of course, you don't want to miss it. And it's going to be a wonderful showing that's going to be happening here in Tobago, and we're going to give you all the details about it later.
All right, thank you there, Candice. And who do we wrap with this morning, Rhea?
All right, so we're going to be wrapping things this morning, chatting with Joseph Jordan, Sergeant of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and he's going to give us some updates from the TTPS and give us some advice for women to protect themselves during Carnival. I say women and men. Women and men, there was a concentration over the years for women, but right now it's just about anybody. All right, how to protect yourselves during Carnival.
That's some good looking out there, Rhea.
That's right.
All right, and I know we've got at least a birthday on the lineup this morning. So quick shout out to my partner out there, man from the East. And we're waiting for that photo. Just gonna put up that photo on screen. Birthday shout outs this morning to Carol Anderson. All right, wishing you God's continued blessings. We trust that you enjoy the birthday celebration and the season. All right, some know him as DJ Wishes. All right, want to wish you a happy birthday, man. Birthday blessings, bro.
All right, happy birthday going out to you.
All right, so today it's one of those days, the 31st of January, where the list is it's down to one.
Pretty short. I tell you, our birthday list is pretty short. But you know, we head on over into February, and we've got quite a few birthdays into February. We know it's not you, Julian. We know it's not you, because we know, had it been you, we would have known about it since the start of January.
We'd have known of the start of the month running on.
That's right.
All right.
We get on into things.
And we're seeing some quick comments coming in on the live this morning. We want to shout out Kiki Melville, Sharon Mills, Godfrey Moore. All right, in the mix this morning, Laura Bernard, also with us, Pearl Murray Bear,
Good morning, good morning.
Morning to each and every one of you. Lisa James connecting with us out there. Folks, we want to thank you so much. Rhea, you know, I continue, and we can't say thanks enough to our viewers in the mix consistently. for continuing to choose us each and every day. And coming up on screen, yes, he's giving us a wave there. I thought he might have given us a dance or something. All right, coming up on screen,
Jesse, don't disappoint. Don't disappoint.
Yes, man. Cultural Officer 2 of the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities, and Transportation, Jesse Taylor. So we look forward to those upcoming discussions. And those of you joining us via TV, those connecting with us via radio and listening, and those of you online, this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
How it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Comfort Inn and Suites presents Sweet Soca, the all-inclusive edition, featuring the Vice Queen of Soca, Van Lyons Alvarez.
Let's go, let's go!
And the Viking of Soca, Bungie Garland.
I'm not going no small fret. Let me extend my apologies.
Welcome to an all-inclusive premium experience with an all-star DJ cast, live steel band, a fully stocked premium bar, and cuisine from around the world, and many more surprises. This is a staycation package you don't want to miss. For more info, call our hotline 612-3835. It's the Comfort Inn and Suites Sweet Soca, the all-inclusive edition, Saturday, 4th February 2023.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We're chatting this morning with Jesse Taylor, Cultural Officer 2, attached to the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities, and Transportation. And this morning, viewers, our focus is on Carnival 2023 in the East. We're talking East Side drama now.
It is.
Jesse, good morning.
Indeed, pleasant good morning to all of Tobago, and especially to all the people at the eastern end of Tobago. May you have a good day and a better week ahead.
Thank you so much. Now, I tell you, Jesse, viewers, he came on set this morning looking all regal in these colors here, down to the matching watch and shoes. And I said, oh, God, Jesse, you're just too much. But he looks good. He looks really good. All right. Now, you're the man in charge here. Tell us what's happening in the East. We see some changes, but quite recently there was some controversy over that Juve in the East being carded for that Carnival Sunday. What entered the minds of the planners to even suggest that?
Well, okay, first let me say I am here wearing the hat of the Vice Chair of the Windward Carnival Committee. This committee is headed by our pan connoisseur, Steve Jack, who have sanctified my being here today. So I say good morning to Mr. Jack and to the committee at Windward. Yeah, Carnival is all about business and the business of the people. So some time ago, one of some of the residents up in the east, at Roxbury in particular, forward the idea about moving the Juve into Sunday with an idea of using what would have been a regular nice flow of people from the Afro Queen Show and Calypso Monarch, and then to have it at the same time allow for a more even spread and a greater share of the pie. But it didn't sit well with the people at the western and the eastern end. And so we had the stakeholders meeting, and we were privileged to have most of the faith-based organization who came on board and gave their reasons, and it was pulled back because this is all about stakeholders and the embrace, the outreach, and I dare say that the Honorable Assistant Secretary, who's in charge of culture, Megan Morrison, she made her known that it was never intended to be rude, but to look at how we could add value to the product. Seeing that at this time it didn't make the grade, then it was something that was withdrawn from the table as an offering. So I'm pleased to say to all of Tobago and half of Trinidad that Juve will continue this normal spot, and all are invited to come out and participate in whatever area they choose to.
All right, so we're really happy to clarify
Yes,
that. And I mean, it was out there, we just decided to bring it back and get some more information on it. Now, Carnival 2023 has been dubbed the mother of all carnivals nationally, the mother of all carnivals. What is Tobago's offering, Tobago East's offering to this mother of all carnivals?
Well, we are offering a celebration of our cultural heritage and our legacy. We are looking at how we can use what is our history, our legacy, our cherished legacy at that, our carnival legacy, and how we can use that to give greater birth to how we transfer our knowledge, how we ensure that there is practice and that and a platform for that as well. But larger than that, how it brings economic value to the space and how we use it to create a greater sense of innovation and so doing China industry that was ravished by COVID-19. So this carnival is really dedicated to harnessing, may I dare say, maybe planting the tree of culture, a carnival culture that should grow into a beautiful tree that should bring forth the fruits that will come from, in this particular instance, from the East. So on Friday, we do what is called the celebration time, Buzz in the East. And we are, over the years, or as long as time memorial, we have not had a lodge outside of Roxborough in the East. And this year we are taking it to the Pan Village and the French village of Belgarden. And it's going to be on Friday the 3rd, starting at 5 p.m. And it's going to be mass. We'll also have the launch of the Women Afro Queen 8 delegates who are spread through the villages from Speyside as far as Palatuve, who would be revealed on that day. We'll also have Pan, we'll have traditional mass, and the story of Carnival will unfold. So you're all invited to what we have been dubbing as Signal to Carnival, the Buzz in the East.
Buzz in the East, and then things continue on because later on, not even later on, sometime after, maybe within the next couple of weeks or so, just before Carnival itself, there are other activities.
Yes, we do have Jewels in the Sun, which is our usual Windward Carnival Junior activity that has All Mass and Little Miss Afro, Junior Miss Afro. Again, is another way to, as we said, Jewels in the Sun. We expose those jewels that we have and allow them to blossom under the beautiful island. And as they say, this is my island in the sun.
All right. Yeah. So we have the Windward Junior Extravaganza, and that is for the 16th
of February, starting at 10. So we have been coordinating with the schools, and I dare say that we have been privileged to partner with the Roxborough Police Youth Club, where we have a secretariat that's set up and running from today. So registration for all the areas of mass and vending and whatever things that short-term employment, temporary workers, and it's open there at 8 to 4 at the Roxborough Police Youth Club, where we are based for the season.
All right, so this is a call. This is a call.
It is a clarion call to ensure that people come out. It's Carnival is back. We continue to monitor the systems of health and the safety of the people. We've been in collaboration with and intend to continue our talks with the stakeholders to ensure that we bring balance and that we bring a quality product that we can see as something that is really worth having and cherishing.
All right, so the mother of all carnivals, again, it's being dubbed as Roxborough has the Kiddies Carnival that's coming up on the
Yes, it's
19th.
on Saturday, just after the Afro Queen Show and Calypso Windward Monarch. So there is the Windward Monarch, which has always been twinned with the Miss Afro Queen Show. And, you know, we have not had that like in its full form because of COVID. So we are back out. It's going to be a grand show. We're inviting all the people of the East and in town to get on board, come out, support your delegates, support your favorite Calypso winner in the East. And then Sunday, you take a rest in the morning and you come out at 1 o'clock. There'll be the Kiddies Carnival. And then on Monday morning, there's Juve. Monday evening, senior parade of bands. And you also have night mass as well on Monday.
And that's happening in?
And all of happening at Sid Gray.
Sid Gray Complex in Roxborough.
We're exploring the routes and to ensure that we look at how the traffic and the congestion, and we try to work with the logistics. We had a site visit yesterday. Mr. Jack did that. And so we are really working with the people, for the people, and to work by the people.
Right, but of course there is always that alternative route, even when the Roxborough Windward Road is blocked, there is also that alternative route.
Exactly, and there has been some development in the road and so the grading and that kind of stuff. So we anticipate that the traffic flow should be a lot more easy and a lot more passable, if I say so.
All right, well, Jesse Taylor, thank you so much. Again, this is a clarion call for persons to come out and support the mother of all carnivals that is being dubbed for 2023. So it's happening east and west, and of course, Juve takes place on Monday.
Yes,
and that would be Monday the 20th. But it's also in Crown Point, Scarborough.
It's also in Scarborough,
and Roxborough. Yes, Roxborough, Crown Point,
hoping to revive the product in Scarborough as well.
All right, so we definitely see how things go.
Buzz in the East, be there, come be part of the buzz of activity, come join in the experience that is our carnival, and by mother of our carnival, we are children of the culture and a whole. In this particular case, those people who love the mud, who love the conventional mass, the traditional mass, the calypso, the pageantry of the queens, and of course, the sound of the pulsating steel pan. You are all welcome to be part of this wonderful experience. Join in and join now.
All right. Most definitely. Remind us again of where in Belgarden all of this
Right, so it's at the Multipurpose Center at the Belgarden facility. You know, there has been a new spanking center, and so we're using the car park adjacent to the center. It's right on the road, and it's safe and it's serene, and you're invited to be part of this experience. There's going to be music, and there's going to be costumes on display, and masks. You see samples of masks of the East, and just come out. I beg of you.
He said, I beg of you.
Yes.
All right, there. Thank you so much there, Jesse Taylor, for being on the program with us. Viewers, very quickly here. Earlier on in the program, I would have mentioned the police officer, the altercation with the police officer and the traffic warden in Trinidad. Now, when I made mention of him not having identified himself, this was during the altercation. During the altercation, I'm talking about. But the update is that the Commissioner of Police, the Acting Commissioner of Police, Christopher, suspends officer involved in viral video with traffic warden in Port of Spain. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is confirming that the police officer who was involved in an altercation with the traffic warden has been suspended from actual duty by the Acting Commissioner of Police, Christopher, pending the outcome of the investigation into the incident. The Professional Standards Bureau is currently investigating the incident. All right, so I made mention of it, but I made mention of the fact that at that point in time, now this is just a plainclothes gentleman who is pushing a traffic warden into his vehicle, and this is what we're seeing here. So happy to see that some type of action has been taken. I wonder, is this suspension with pay or suspension without pay? Because it's two different things. But thank you so much for the information again, and thank you for allowing me to clear that up. Well, viewers, we've got lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show. We're going to head on over to the car park, the stadium grounds, to hear what's with Candace as she chats with Beverly Ramsey Moore. And we're going to hear a little bit more about what's coming up with Pan. And for those Pan lovers, yeah, we're going to get some more information. So, Jesse Taylor, you're taking us out this morning as you tell our viewers to share the live, share the live. But you got to do it in Jesse Taylor style.
So, come on. A pleasant good morning to one and all. Come on, take this current call. Come alive, and share the live, share the live. Share the live, share the live. Share the live, share the live, share the live, and have a great and fantastic day, all of Tobago.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Susolands, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. I am Candace Jackson with Out and About, of course, and we are here at the Bacalet Parade Grounds, which is next to the Dwight York Stadium, and we got stage. We are on stage. Tobago has stage, and the stage is set for the medium finals of the Panorama competition this year, and oh my goodness, we are so excited. No, this is not the first time it's being held in Tobago. It was held in 2020, but guess what? It's going to be bigger and better this time, and none other to tell us about it than President of Pan Trinbago herself, the lovely Miss Beverly Ramsey Moore. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candice.
So we are here on stage. It's almost ready.
Yes, it's almost ready.
Tell me about the feeling of just seeing it prepared, seeing your vision come to life bigger and better than it was in 2020.
So Pan Trinbago has decided that we are coming back to Tobago for the medium band finals this year because it was a massive success in 2020, and so we are all excited not only about what is going to happen, but excited about bringing this kind of infrastructure to Tobago for the very first time. We have 12 bands participating in the finals because it's our Diamond Jubilee. And so as we celebrate our 60th anniversary of Panorama, Tobago could not have been left out. And I tell you, we look forward to Tobagonians and the Trinidadians and of course the diaspora, where our people will be coming home to enjoy themselves on the 12th of February.
Now, I was here in 2020 and it was a grand affair, and it was magical and we enjoyed it. We got a little taste of what happens in the Queensback Savannah. We got it here.
Correct.
But this year it's going to be bigger and better. The issues with the infrastructure were fixed. So tell me a little bit about it, sorry.
All right, so I approached the National Carnival Commission. As a matter of fact, I am a commissioner on the board, and I approached and I appealed for the commission to put down the infrastructure because we wanted a sort of North Park, North Stand kind of feel in the Tobago space, and that is exactly what we are getting. We know that it costs a couple $1 million to do this, and of course the Tobago House of Assembly will be contributing, and so I'm very happy to tell you the truth, Candice. I am so proud as a Tobagonian to be able to approach my colleagues and to bring them in this space. I think this is a big one for us. Yes, it is.
How big is the stage?
Well, the stage is I think 120 feet long by 48
and then,
wide. Yeah.
And then, of course, right there we have the bleachers and so on set up. So tell me what the setup
so
is
we
like.
have general seating, we have VIP seating, we have on the deck, if you notice, we have 2 decks, and we have pods. For those who want to fit in the pods, they can fit in the pods, and of course, there is going to be a great lime on the bank.
Yes.
Yes, it's going to be a real party going on here on the 12th of February.
Now tell me about the preparation for it itself, you know, for the medium band finals. How is it going? I know we heard just a few days ago, we heard from Tobago's bands. What's it like in Trinidad as well?
Yes, so the Tobago bands, they've performed, and there was a massive following at the Panyard Crawl.
Yes.
That in itself is an experience, going from Panyard to Panyard. So that was the Panyard Crawl. And sensing from the height and the emotions a couple of nights ago, I can imagine that the Tobagonians will fill up this space. We go back to Trinidad tonight. As we go to the eastern region, they have some very strong bands in the east. Last night the northern regions performed and the south performed before. And out of that lot, 14 bands will be going to the semi-finals on the 5th of February. And there is where the 12 bands will be selected to come to Tobago. So there'll be a lot of movements in Tobago. Yes. We have to approach the hotels already. We have booked a number of hotels. Each hotel will at least take 120 persons or personnel from a band, and so we have I'm expecting all 3 bands from Tobago to be in. I am hoping, please, I don't know what the judges' decision will be, but if we have the 3 bands from Tobago in the finals, then we only will have 9 bands, and so that is going to be about 1,500 persons in terms of band and their personnel and so on coming, plus their supporters will be coming.
Yes, of course, and welcome the supporters.
Influx. And you know, we have a number of steel pan enthusiasts in Trinidad and Tobago. People just love the pan, the energy. Pan is happy music, and so I expect nothing but greatness here on the 12th.
And now, you know, Tobago's bands have always been the ones going to Trinidad all the time, and then just experiencing it. They have to get on the boat, they have to get their stuff together, and it's been a hassle.
Yes.
But Tobago bands have been doing it faithfully over the years. But now that we are here in Tobago and we are having the medium finals here in Tobago, and it is becoming a staple, I hope it stays, and I know you hope it stays.
Yes. Yes.
But I mean, is that idea of having bands come across to Tobago, is that being more receptive?
Well, I want to tell you that initially there was a lot of pushback. Because some people wanted to know if Tobago have hotels, if Tobago have food, if Tobago have internet, and all of those kind of questions were coming, and it was definitely a culture shock for some of the bands coming off the boat, and we had to hire a number of young men to help them. Despite
and we in Tobago do this all the time.
We're doing it all the time, so it was definitely a culture shock. We had to bring in welding plans so that they could know that a number of our wheels and racks are damaged when we go down, but we do it for the love of the pan. And so we would have learned our lessons from the last one, and we are going to put things in place to make sure that they are all satisfied and comfortable when they come.
Now we're seeing, right, walking here, we're seeing some of the pods that are going to be available for people and their crew, because of course, I mean, this is about a lime, it's about some fun, you know. So tell me, how many of these are going to be available?
All right, so we have 20 pods, and each pod can hold about 8 persons. And once you come in, you don't want to go and sit in the general area, but you want to come up with your cooler. You want to come in and lime. Let's
with
go
your
in
crew,
the and with your crew and your cooler.
pod.
That's right.
Wow.
Look at the view. Look at the view.
And
on
then
the
you're hearing
stage.
the blast of the
That's
music
right.
and everything like
Yes.
that. And then, you know, of course, what's so special about this location too is that it's always windy, it's not hot.
That's right.
And, you know, you're just right here where the sound can just emulate the place.
Definitely. I tell you, I mean, this is. I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words. I just want the Tobagonians to come out in their numbers, provide the support to all the bands. All the bands. This is something new. We see it as an activity that is going to generate a lot of income for a number of persons and serious economic activity. And in Pan Tobago, we have branded it as a pan tourism product.
Yes.
It's a movement of people all over in the regions and a number of persons, even in our Caribbean islands. They have approached us and they want to come to Tobago to enjoy the space, because Tobago offers much more than Pan. Even the very space, the calm, the very atmosphere. You know, we are a tourism island and you know, they want to come here to enjoy. So whilst they're coming here for the Pan on the Sunday, they are definitely going to enjoy. So they can come from the Friday.
Yes.
And
Spend the
just
whole weekend.
That's right, spend the whole weekend here with us.
Enjoy the beaches.
Yes.
Enjoy the waterfalls, the hiking, everything that there is to do
Correct.
in Tobago. All right, so give me an idea of like what are the prices like for the tickets and so on?
All right, so we have general seating. The general seating is $400. On the bank, you just pay $100.
Yes.
All right, and the VIP is $500. We want to make you comfortable. If you notice, the space is we have upgraded, so you're going to be extremely comfortable. And then you lie on the deck, it's the same price as general seating.
So, Ms. Beverly Ramsey Moore, what is your vision for the future of Pan, especially in Tobago?
All right, well, we need a lot of work in terms of taking Pan back to the communities. All right, Tobago had a number of steel bands, and from what we are seeing, and what we are extremely proud about is our home-based arrangers.
Yes, we are.
That's right. A number of them, they're going to UTT and to the University of the West Indies. And so we need to see a greater input at the schools, from the schools level, the Division of Education, that Pan in Schools program. We definitely need a steel band in every school in Tobago. And where we need to, and in the communities from that level, we need to teach our people not only to play the pan, but also to learn music in itself. So there is where our focus will be for the next year or so, to ensure we put up a proper structure to take pan to the next level.
And then what I like about what Pan Tobago is doing right now, you know, I mean, there's a lot of noise in the space where Carnival is concerned. There's a lot of questions and so on, but yet Pan Tobago is making sure that Pan remains strong.
Yes, because Pan is community soul. Pan is Trinidad and Tobago. It is our national musical instrument. I cannot afford to be distracted by the noise of money. Because as special interest groups, we must do more for ourselves.
Yes.
We must be able to diversify our revenue stream. We cannot sit back and only wait on government, on THA to give us handouts all the time. And as such, that is where we are also going to focus on training with our band leaders. You can't wait on Carnival time to raise money to go to a panorama and all of that. So there is a lot to do as we try to break away from that old culture and really get into business.
Okay.
And I mean, I do it, and I said, look, by example, because in our Panyan, and I use myself and I share it with all the other bands, you know, yes, we were fortunate enough to get a shell, but everything else in that Panyan, we've put that in for ourselves.
Little by little.
Little by little. And then we've moved on to owning 2 buses. We've got our own truck, you know, you have. And when you go to a panorama and you win some money, put aside some money for the next startup of the next panorama. Don't wait. You're not sponsored, but you got to do it because it's a very expensive thing. If you, for a medium band, to go to a panorama and look good, you must have about $400,000. So we know it's expensive, but at the same time, let's find ways and means to earn additional revenue.
All right, great. Now I want to thank you so much, Ms. Beverly Ramsey Moore. But before we go, let the people know where they should be for this medium pan finals and when.
So it's going to be on the 12th of February, right here at Parade Park, close to the Dwight York Stadium. Get your tickets at the Tobago Regional Office. Buy a lot of tickets and get some free.
And can they get them at the door as well?
And you can also purchase the tickets at the door. Bring your posse and come.
All right, you heard it from the president herself. So make sure that you are going to be here. I will most likely be here, take it in, and of course I'm going to be cheering on my Tobago bands because that's where my heart is. All right, sorry Trinidadians, but well, we hope you all do well too, but I'm going to be supporting my Tobago people. All right, well, thank you for viewing, but don't go anywhere because there's a lot more coming up for you after the break.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, view. Morning in this segment. Alfred joining us here of the TTPS Chauvin Road Police Station. Yes, this morning in this segment, viewers, we have joining us Acting Inspector Anderson Alfred of the TTPS, the Chauvin Road Police Station, and we're speaking safety at Carnival. Morning to you, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
All right. So as we get started in the conversation, I want you to give us a sense of that preparation and the time that we are in now, which obviously requires on the part of the TTPS almost preparing to to serve and to protect, but doing it with a sense of humanity
and pride as well.
And pride. So tell us a little bit about that as we get started. The preparation for a period like this and a season like this in terms of ensuring that there is public confidence in the TTPS.
Well, that is one of our #1 priority in our strategic goal, public safety, particularly in festive seasons and festive occasions. So the Tobago division, I can say, and the wider organization, the TTPS, is well poised to ensure public safety is enhanced during this period. So we have an operation plan, of course, for our Tobago Carnival experience. So we have a strategic management system in place where all our stakeholders and partners coming together to ensure that Tobago celebrants are safe during this period. So we want to emphasize the aspect of personal safety because we are well into the season. The fetes have already started. There was a major fete over the weekend. And it was incident-free, of course, because of our strategic plans that we have put into gear. So we want persons to understand that it is their personal responsibility as well to ensure that they are safe. So we encourage persons to look at your environment. That when you go to fete, we look at persons and their safety while they're on the public roads. We encourage to stay in groups in your partying activities. We encourage persons, especially our female fetters and masqueraders, to ensure that they are safe by taking certain measures. You know, this is a social activity and a social event, and persons, they interact with persons and meet persons for the first time as well. So we want to ensure that our female citizens, while they are partying, that they are safe. So the measures that we encourage is that when you meet persons for the first time, ensure that other person within your party or within your family are aware of the person that you meet for the first time. We look at persons who sometimes they are taken away from the group of persons that they're with to socialize with new people. As you meet people, we connect. So you want to ensure that the other person within your group are aware of this person that you're going to meet for the first time. We encourage our female masqueraders as well to be sure that you do not accept drinks from anyone that you do not know or you do not trust. Because there are lots of synthetic drugs out there that we categorize as date drugs or where we say it's the social drug.
So I wanted to clarify those, because some people seem to think that those are still things we just see on TV. It's very real and has happened right here and continues to in Trinidad and Tobago.
Indeed. So what we encourage persons that your safety is your #1 priority, right? In spite of the festive activities, alcohol will be actually part of the culture in this season. So it also stems over into road safety. So we look at persons as they go to these parties. We encourage persons to ensure that you have a plan when you leave your property, you leave your home, get into the event, and a plan to leave. The safest plan is organizing a designated driver. And we always emphasize the designated driver is a person that does not drink alcohol.
Well, I thought there was a limit, a minimum that the designated driver could have. So just clarify it for us there.
Okay, the designated driver, some person's definition of a designated driver is the one that drinks the least.
The least, yes.
But we know that within a party, everybody wants to enjoy themselves. And you become inhibited in your discretion as to how much you can intake. And sometimes during the height of the party, your limit is based on how much you feel that you could take in and not what the body can manage. So therefore, we say the one who drinks no alcohol is the best designated driver.
Very, very important clarification there. So folks, it's not just about the person that will drink the least or is likely to be able to hold their liquor to be a driver. No, it's the person that is not consuming at all. All right. So Anton Parks, take note out there. All right. So what I want to find out further from you as well, we have this recent incident, and Rhea was just chatting about it. We had the video on screen. The incident that took place in Trinidad. Police officer, plainclothes issue with regards to the traffic warden. And so how do we ensure, and particularly from where you sit, the confidence of the public for, as we like to say, what may be a good TTPS in terms of the team in Tobago, but one bad apple, one with the wrong attitude could kind of spoil it for all. How do you try to ensure incidents like that do not happen? And if people feel advantaged by the police, how do they respond to it in the Tobago space here? Who can they reach out to, almost for immediate redress in the circumstances?
Okay, well, I'm glad that you asked that question because it gives me the opportunity to reassure the public that the TTPS frowns upon any behavior that would bring this service into disrepute. Hence, there is an active investigation as it relates to that video. So therefore, within the organization, the issue of learning and development, especially in the area of customer service, that is one of our #1 priority in officer development. Particularly officers in Tobago are no exemption to that training and that development. So you will see within this, as this carnival season is coming, an enhanced effort to ensure public confidence is restored and the best customer service is meted out to our public. So where we're going to start with, you're going to see a lot of officers who during this period going to businesses, going to communities, and sharing public safety tips. That in itself is bridging the gap, communicating with you, letting you know that the officers are available and they're reaching out to the public. So therefore, one incident, as you know, sometimes it changes the mindset of persons, but we will enhance our efforts in getting the public to understand that our behavior does not hinge upon one officer's misstep. So we are learning and growing organization, and there's no perfect organization, but we are developing and building momentum in that area.
Right. Well, I'm happy that you have mentioned that, because indications coming to us is that officer has been suspended, subject to the investigation, etc., that's taking place. And again, this is critical because you want to restore that kind of confidence in the public in relation to the responses that will come naturally. Let's talk a little bit in terms of being able to make some headway with some of those challenges that we have faced in recent times, criminal activities and so on in Tobago. What's the status? Where are we at with those?
Well, we are doing extremely well in Tobago division. In the Tobago space, we are at 46% detection rate so far. And we are proud that our officers, what we have been pushing towards the public is crime prevention. And our crime prevention efforts, such as this program we are having now, is by sharing information, making persons aware, particularly as we are in the midst of the carnival season preparation. We want to keep that crime level low. We are doing quite well. We have 15 less SRC, serious related crimes reported so far for this year. Tobago is doing quite well. And I would say each and every one of the officers are on board. We have a mantra that we have been using for the past 2 years. Teamwork makes the dream work. And the team not only involves with the internal stakeholders, but external stakeholders as well. And that is the general public. So as you see, as I was coming to studio this morning, I saw our officers engaging members of the public during their traffic activities. And you see, the interaction is not just for issuing penalties and tickets. It's just for showing courtesy, right, to ensuring that persons are aware that officers are approachable. And I know, especially particularly in this time, persons have questions. Is it safe for me to come out to the feds? Is it safe for me to go into the streets and have a good time? I want to tell the public, yes, it is. We will be there.
Can we be assured that we will see the same kind of effort, and we recall the times of Joanne Archie and Benjamin in terms of not just being in high office, but being on the ground in and between, as I even mentioned to Mr. Benjamin in a past interview. I was surprised a late night activity to see him in the mix of it. How important is that? Would you say that is particularly now in 2023 in terms of really not just leading from the helm by sitting in office, but being out there and really seeing what is happening on the ground?
Well, as you had mentioned, Ms. Joanne Archie and Senior Superintendent Mr. Junior Benjamin have laid the foundation, and we are now building upon that foundation a legacy of officers, all hands on deck. You will see officers in the 1st Division and the 2nd Division working shoulder to shoulder to ensure that our mandate and our mission and our vision is fulfilled. So there is not a major power distancing between the ranks in Tobago Division. We are like a family here, and we have one vision and one goal. So if it takes the 1st Division officers to lead from the front, they do that. Within recent time, we had major exercise on the island, and they were 1st Division officers leading the pack. And that is what motivates our junior officers to perform at their highest.
Excellent. Tell us and remind us again, people have had challenges in the past. I have an issue in one area, but I go to another police station and I'm redirected. I want you to ensure, and confirm for us that now persons can go to any, and what are the available, in terms of stations here in Tobago?
Of course, of course. Within the station districts in Tobago, there are district and boundaries. However, members of the public are reminded, particularly during the carnival season, where anything happens wherever they are that they want to make a report, there's a one-door policy. You can make a report to any police officer in any station of your concerns and of your situation. No officer is to send any citizen to any other station or refer them. It is our obligation to do the follow-up, to ensure that that person is directed guided in the right way. So that whole issue of persons wondering if I'm going to the right station or I'm speaking to the right officer, you can make a report to any officer and to any station.
All right. What do you say to the general public in terms of that key responsibility? And I want to ensure that we enforce that, particularly this time around, as it relates to heading into this season and working along with law enforcement.
Yes, well, we all want the public to do that. Listen to the officers and the safety tips that we are issuing to you. We look at your personal safety and we look at your property safety. We want to ensure that your property is safe while you're fetting. There is a particular behavior that we frown upon. That is leaving children and the elderly unsupervised to attend events and to attend fests. We want to encourage persons and we want to admonish them to ensure that the persons that they are leaving, their children especially, or even the vulnerable, are in the care and hands of responsible adults. We also want to ensure that your property is secured, particularly in this season when you are away from your property for an extended period of time. We want to ensure that the same security measure that you put out for Christmas, put it out for Carnival as well, because when you are absent from your property, you leave your property vulnerable. Ensure your place is well lit as well. Ensure that you have a trusted person to throw an eye on the property while you're out. So, we want to ensure that community spirit.
All right. One of the notes coming very quickly, dealing with domestic situations, family matters and so on, calling the police. Tell us about how do you respond and treat with that area, because I know that's a section again catered for within the TTPS.
Indeed, there's a special department, the Gender-Based Violence Unit. However, persons that are victims of domestic violence, you can still make a report to any station. The persons who doing the follow-up will be the person that are specially trained and designated to do that type of investigation. But your report can still be made to any person and to any police officer at any station.
All right, excellent. Final 30 seconds. Contact information. Is it still 999?
Indeed, it is. It is. And in the Tobago space, we have the 211 and the emergency option as well.
All right, excellent. So, folks, you've heard it there from Acting Inspector Alfred Anderson joining us here this morning, giving some gentle reminders, and I'm certain we will continue to hear from the TTPS, both here on air via media and also connecting with them out there one-on-one. And should you have any concerns, as he advised, feel free. You know the face. Feel free to connect with him and to raise those issues as we continue to seek to, to have a better working relationship with the TTPS and the general public, of course, to the greater benefit of our entire island and country. All right, viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support for the Tobago Updates morning show. And as we say bye for this morning, we invite you to stay tuned and stay connected as we head on over to GMT this morning with Chanel. So take care and bye-bye for now.
Now, Secretary Charles Panton, your division would have done a lot in 2022. Are there any future plans that you'd like to share with us for 2023?
Yes, we have several plans. Some of them would just be a continuation of what we started in the last fiscal. Like the Louis D'Or processing facility, we're going to continue with that. The Barbados fish facility, we're going to continue with that. And last fiscal, we would have submitted a proposal to the Ministry of Planning. So once we get the funding for that, we're going to fix up the botanical gardens. We're going to focus on the aesthetics. So when we talk about aesthetics, we're talking about plants and the different varieties of plants. Plants that, are indigenous to Tobago. And we really want to beautify the area, not only in terms of plants, but also in terms of infrastructure. You want to be able to, bring your family there, have a picnic, maybe have coffee at a coffee shop, and of course the fencing we like to transform. Right now the fence is all rusted and falling, so we want to introduce some art. All right, so we'll have a lot of upgrades being done on the compound. We already started with one of the units, the buildings there. And that will continue once we get the funding from the Ministry of Planning.
You would have just highlighted the mega farms. That's a very interesting kind of concept for the island of Tobago. You want to go tell us any little bit about that project?
Okay, so under the special purpose company, TADCO, the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, as I mentioned earlier, it's a separate entity to the division, so it's a profit-making entity. And building out the mega farms, you would want to do some of the groundwork before. So we started out by building capacity in the poultry farmers. So that is why we have the Poultry Contract Initiative, where we give the chicks and the feed for free. And we are hoping that lands will be given out, a lease arrangement, a contractual arrangement given to farmers so that they can more or less engage in agricultural production. In my division, we like to work as a team. And as a matter of fact, I encourage it because, I mean, you need the expertise of everyone to be on board with every project. So we're going to continue to work as a team to improve the functions at the tractor pool station. And we're going to continue with all the initiatives under FAO to ensure that, you know, we support the stakeholders in the wider community.
Now, when you indicated FAO, some persons may not know what that organization is about. Just tell us the full name of that organization and what are some of the key, just probably one or two of the projects that you'll be collaborating on going forward.
The FAO is the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and we have partnered with them to build out the greenhouses made of bamboo. So that's the Bamboo Shade House project. We just completed the banana project in St. Vincent. They modeled the same project in St. Vincent. They just did it in Tobago and it was successful. We're going to continue with them in terms of improving the quality of livestock on the island. So very soon we'll have the Cubans coming in and doing that embryo transfer and, you know, fertilization project. So we are going to continue our partnerships with all the organizations. As I said, agriculture is a science and a business, and we intend to continue along that way.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Transforming commitment into results. That's the motto of one of Tobago's most prolific athletic clubs, Zenith Athletic Club. The club has been around for over 3 decades and consistently produces outstanding international athletes. And as the athletes excel, they're honored for their efforts.
I want to congratulate the coaches, the people who form this wonderful organization. I really wanted to give them a round of applause.
So you have to see yourself as a business. So my challenge to sporting groups and sporting bodies this year is to see yourself as a business, organize yourself as a business, and mind your business.
I feel awesome. I feel amazing. I didn't expect to get Athlete of the Year for Zenith. I'm very grateful, and I want to thank Mommy and my whole support system, which is my family, my aunties, my cousins, and one of my closest friend, Ansel, child sis.
I feel good because I know how much I worked towards it. I was in plenty pain at the point in time because I had the injury. So while working towards it, the injury was giving me a lot of pressure. So it is very nice to see that my hard work pay off.
Founders of the club, brothers Gerard and Wade Franklin, have now passed on the baton to younger coaches. They were honored for their guidance, dedication, and commitment throughout the years.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong.
good morning. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and I am here joining you this morning on Good Morning Tobago. Guys, it's a great morning. A bit overcast here in Scarborough, but regardless, we're gonna have one of those conversations that you wanna have to get your morning started the right way. But before we get into our interesting conversation this morning, I'm gonna start off by recapping on news in 90 seconds. And first off, we have Cats and Jammers, who have topped the preliminary competition of Panorama. Tobago released the official results yesterday, confirming the advancement of the 3 Tobago bands to the semi-finals of the competition. In fact, all the Tobago bands placed in the top 10. Cats and Jammers scored the most points for their rendition of Tell Me Why. Placing sixth in the competition was another band from Tobago, Carib Dixieland, with their performance of Lorraine. And in 10th place was NGC's Steel Explosion portraying Out and Bad. Additionally, engine problems on board of the Tobago Reef caused 2 sailings to be cancelled yesterday. The vessel departed Port of Spain on time at 8 a.m. However, 1 hour after its journey, engineers on board noticed strange songs coming from the engine room and decided to return to the port for a diagnostics test. But the vessel was unable to dock right away because a cruise ship was in the port, which caused passengers to remain on board until 12:30 p.m. Those passengers were later placed on the APT James vessel. Meanwhile, diagnostic tests revealed that a faulty pump caused the problems on the Buku Reef ferry. It is expected to resume regular sailings on Wednesday, the 1st of February. And finally, the Ministry of Education promised to address the concerns regarding the recruitment of teachers for denominational schools by the Teaching Service Commission. The promise came after Santana Dama Maha Sabah sent a pre-action protocol letter to the Teaching Service Commission and the Ministry of Education. Dr. Nayan Gaspi Dolly alleged an unlawful and unconstitutional change to the recruitment process for denominational primary schools. At a press conference yesterday, Gaspi Dolly stated they hosted a meeting involving the Teaching Service Commission and school boards towards a resolution. She said there is another meeting set for sometime this week, but did not say when. The purpose of the final meeting, she said, was to resolve these issues and to iron out the issues that surround the entire process. Guys, and that was your news in 90 seconds. This morning, I have the privilege of having one of those really interesting conversations as we continue our series here on Good Morning Tobago every Tuesday on business and politics, as we delve into how the politics of the day here on the island of Tobago is having an impact on how business is functioning on the island. We talk about economic advancement here, tourism, and the overall development of entrepreneurs, small businesses here on the island of Tobago. Now, during the past year, a number of controversies have come to light with members of the public, expressing their dissatisfaction with how business has been going on the island. And this has been demonstrated through a number of talks that has been happening. And we have seen this by means of the Let the People Speak forum that was held last week at the library. And this was held by the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And we saw a number of prominent Tobagonians, a number of political analysts, strategists, economists, and other stakeholders that were at the session and had a lot to say. So I'm going to have my producers pull one of those clips from that session, and we're just going to have a slight review of what exactly took place during that forum last week, as it really sets the stage for the conversation this morning.
Servant for 38 years. I joined the public service in 1985, and I saw how the public service, because first let me say that government, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, drive the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. Government, because they were the main spenders. And I saw before, in 85 to 95, especially how the public service runs and how Tobago would have benefited from that experience. Post 95, where the new post 96 year, where the Tobago House of Assembly, the new act, Tobago would have been entrusted with their own funding. So that we were supposed to do things differently from 96 forward, creating the infrastructure, the whatever, in order for us, because basically technically, we begin to govern ourselves because we have our own money and we decide that process start, in my estimation, 96, in the first term, that first term when Mr. Troy Charles, and after that, we start that infrastructure and that things went down. Yeah. Secondly, Trinidad sees Tobago as an island where, as a market, to market their goods and services to us. Tobago, that's how Trinidad sees us. Trinidad don't see us any different. And the question, and the proof in the pudding is that you see those big business, Carey, McCall, Angostura, they go, you see them in Barbados, they see them in Guyana, they see them up the island. Have you seen them in Tobago? Because that's how they see us. So we, to use a statement that Hochoy will use, we in Tobago, we need to get our politics right. If we don't get our politics right, on the background that government drives, if we don't get our politics right, we will stay where we are at this moment. Sorry.
You heard it right there from Mr. Barry Nelson. And he made a quote from our first ever Chief Secretary, Mr. Ho-Choi Charles. And he said Tobago might just be in trouble if we don't get our politics right. And here this morning with me to actually go a bit deeper into that statement and explain it for himself, I have the privilege of sitting with the man himself, our first ever Chief Secretary, Mr. Ho-Choi Charles. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. And it's always a pleasure to come and have you sit with us and speak and come from a place where you are educating the public. We would have had a number of conversations during the pandemic where you would have informed a number of young persons on the THA Act and why it's important for us to understand that act as young persons in order for us to truly engage in proper political decision making.
Were you one of them?
I was one of the hosts, actually, right? And so that was a very informative session, and it just goes to show that you have been on this journey of public education ever since your political career. Well, I don't know if it has ended because you seem to be very much involved in politics still to this day, because we always see a name coming up whenever there's an issue in politics. You still perform in the area of training. So tell us, what does politics look like for you today, right now? What is politics for you? How involved are you right now?
First of all, we have to understand what politics is, you know. And when I listen to people speak, even on these programs, in the public, we don't know what politics is. If we understand what politics is, somebody would not ask somebody, you know, whether in fact they're involved in it or not.
Well, I know your political career has truly evolved.
Politics is public service.
Has truly evolved over the years. So where do you see yourself functioning at this point? Do you see yourself positioned as sort of a mentor in the political arena here in Tobago?
I'm saying to you, let me just take my time to tell you what politics is, so that we understand what we're discussing. If we have to understand what we are discussing, we have to have the same meaning, interpretation of the terms that we use, or else we can't carry on the conversation. Politics is public service. The highest level of public service is politics. So everybody is involved in politics in this country. But the highest level is politics. The highest level of public service is politics. Just like teaching, nursing, policing is public service, it has to be performed by somebody. And that is what politics is. Politics is not we think people doing nonsense and you call it politics. People doing foolishness and you call it politics. People playing games with the people's life and you call it politics. That's not politics, you know. That's foolishness. So let's discuss politics. And that's why we run away, very quickly we run away our people from politics because we don't know what it is. Why the good people run away from it? Because they think, oh God, you're talking politics. Oh God, no, me, I want to involve in politics. But they determine whether you eat, whether you drink, what system you have, what structure you have, how businesses do in a country. That's politics. I want to leave it there for the time being. So it is public, it is public service that has to be performed, and is the highest level. Prime Minister is a politician, the President is a politician. They determine how the country is governed, you know.
So you would not
So you want good
define
people to
yourself
determine how
at
the
this
country is
time
governed. Yeah.
as a political researcher or
I'm a leader.
or any of those terms.
I am a leader.
You see yourself as a political leader?
Just a leader, yes.
Just a leader.
Yeah.
All right.
Because as you know what politicians do. I'm not a politician. I tell people that. Politicians, you know what they do, and you know what leaders do.
You said, well, Barry Nelson quoted you, and you later came on and you repeated his quote where he said, if Tobago doesn't, well, I am paraphrasing, if Tobago doesn't get the politics right, then we might be in trouble. Talk to us more about that.
Okay, first of all, why I tell you a little while ago that politicians think about the next election. Leaders think about the next generation. Let me repeat that slowly. Politicians only think about the next election, what we're going to do to win it. Leaders think about the next generation. And when you think about the next, this is why things are like they are in this country, because we think about what the next election, whether you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, you look at an election. Not about fixing the things that are sustainable, that will take your people from where they are to where you want to be. It doesn't sustainable about politics, about the politician. And that's why I tell you, I'm not a politician. I'm a leader. So I think about what? The next generation. Let me take your question now. Was it repeated?
You said you spoke about if Tobago doesn't get the politics right.
So you have to fix the politics first, or else nothing else should be fixed. Because it's the highest level of public service. That has to be fixed first.
And what exactly are you alluding to? Because
by
saying that the politics
structure, the system, the business, the first thing you do is that the country, the politicians, as you say, we have to have in this country what you call the national vision for the country. The national vision. What would you like to see Tobago look like, or Trinidad and Tobago look like in the next 10 years, 20 years, 25 years? And that is not your idea alone. The population of the country must have a say and say, this is exactly what we want to see Tobago look like. This is what I want to see. I want to see Deepwater Harbor. I want to see good roads. I want to see everybody employed. I want to see the businesses thriving. You need to have what you call national vision.
Correct.
We wrote a development plan for Tobago after getting the views of the population of Tobago. And we write a 15-year development plan. I said, this is what we would like. This is what the people of Tobago say that they would like to see Tobago look like. And we say, fine, that's what you have. You don't have that for Trinidad. That came about because the Prime Minister and I at that time, Mr. Pandy, we sat and I said, we need to write a development plan for Trinidad and Tobago. Because there's no way you can assess the contribution or the performance of your government if you don't have a goal, or if you don't have something that you're going to a standard. They don't have one. So you jump up every morning, a man decide to build a smelter, and the people protest because they don't know anything about it. But if you don't do that, what will happen is that your development plan that you write, because the people own their views, this is what we would like to see Tobago, they are part of it. So from the time you come up to do something that they approve, the entire resources and energy of the country will go towards that instead of using that resource to protest against what you're doing. That is what you start with. That's the vision for the country. Every year some things circumstances may change. So of course, that is up for review from time to time, and the population have to be involved in that because it is their plan.
And this is where I was leading to, Mr. Charles, right? We have to be fair in stating that as each administration comes in, they all come with their own ideologies and their own idea and their own vision for where they believe Tobago should go.
And that's wrong.
With this administration, we see that the Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, his vision is for Tobago to be that greatest little island on the planet. And they are claiming that they came into office with a mandate that was given to them by the people, and that this is the mandate that they are now executing.
Is that
so? When you talk about the development plan that you worked on in your time, that may not be the same as the vision of the current administration, but there must be a level, a middle ground. So talk to us about how do we bridge the gap between the overall vision that has been set out for Tobago by persons who laid the foundation like yourself, and the new vision for Tobago of the new administration, because we have to be fair in allowing them to execute the vision that they had when they came into office.
Ma'am, I want to take my time slowly again with you.
We only have an hour, but we will try our best to get through it.
I am never rushed to do anything that I need to do, and nobody forced me to do anything I don't want to do.
Right.
And you need to understand what we're dealing with. I took my time with you to explain to you that the plan is not our own or my own, not Hochoy Charles administration own. It was the people of Tobago. Every village, the 42 villages we consulted. And when the technical people finished the drafting, we went back out to make sure that the population of Tobago agrees that this is exactly what we say we wanted that is in the plan. So it's not Farley view or Hochoy view. This was the people's plan. That's quite different from what you are telling me.
Mr. Charles, they are claiming that the mandate that they have was also put forward by the people of Tobago.
Could you tell me how that was done? And this is why we don't want to, and I wanted to go there. That, if you notice, you go to the population, that's a manifesto. That you're talking about, they went there with a manifesto if they had one. And that was the idea in their manifesto, that we want to do this for the people of Tobago. And they said that they win the election 14-1. But the population of Tobago is 65,000 people. There were 50 or 40 something thousand voters. How many make? 20 something thousand people voted for them, right? Okay. 20 something thousand, I don't have the figures, voted for them. So the mandate they got that they're talking about is from 20,000 people out of 65,000 people. The plan I'm talking about is 65,000 people say yes. That's different, completely different. So the mandate was PDP mandate. That 20-something thousand people say we want you to do that. What about the other 40-something thousand people? That's what I'm saying. So when you come into office, what you need to do is to do what we would have done, so that the population is the one who decides this is what we want for this country. And that is why there will be no divergence of views when you're ready to implement, and you implement that by way of your manifesto. And so out of the 15 or 20 year vision for the country that the people say we want, you are in office, your term of office in Tobago is 4 years. So your manifesto will take 4 years out of the people's plan and put it there. And then you know that the budget cycle now is 1 year. Your money come every year. So every single year of your 4 year, you take 1 year out of the 4 year plan. The 4 year plan is out of the people's 15-year plan or 20-year plan. So you take 4 years out of that, and then every year you take 1 year out of your 4 year and implement. Is the people's plan right through? Not yours. No mandate from no party.
All right, Mr. Charles, and this is what I'm asking. When we talk about bridging the gap between the vision that was set out by persons who would have built the foundation like yourself, bridging the gap between the vision 2030 that was set by the central government and the mandate that the current administration has for themselves, the standard that they have set for their own success. How do we create a middle ground there where to be? Well, we have built, then we have moved on to another topic.
No.
And how do we create a middle ground there?
It's your question I'm responding to. I'm not saying that you are not there. I am trying to get to you that the 2030 vision you're talking about, where the government is doing that, that's their view. The population of Trinidad and Tobago, the 1-point-something billion people, are no saying that. I'm saying something fundamentally different.
But then there becomes a disparity. If we here in Tobago are setting policies, that doesn't align with the overall vision for 2030 that is set by the central government, it means that we are doing things in conflict.
No.
So don't you think that the policies that are made in Tobago should fit into the overall vision that the entire country is heading towards?
Gina, this is what I tell you.
It should not be. Do you think that it should be in conflict of each other?
What's the name? My daddy, we really want a full education program on this. In 1996, a law was passed, and I can't give you the antecedent of this, it takes too long. Tobago was run from Trinidad in every way. I can't tell you what our conditions were. And we, people of Tobago, complain that nothing is happening here. The roads are bad, no this, everything is run from Trinidad. As a result of that kind of complaint, I'm trying to put it in summary for you. The people of Tobago complain. And as a result, the representative from Tobago went to Parliament and said, hey, the people of Tobago want to do this for themselves. You can't stay in Trinidad and do it. As a result, we ended up, I'm trying to proceed, we ended up with Act number 40 of 1996. What does it say? You in Tobago, the Parliament, the country agrees with us. Parliament agrees with us and passes legislation and said, you see, from now, you in Tobago will be responsible for making decisions on these 33 items and you are to carry them out. That's something else, you know. So the vision for Trinidad 2030 is for Trinidad. We have our own for Tobago.
It's a Trinidad and Tobago vision.
Ma'am, don't talk like people from not from Tobago.
No, Mr. Charles, listen to me. Listen to me.
The Tobago House of Assembly Act.
Listen to me. I understand what the Tobago House of Assembly Act says, right?
The Tobago House. You didn't understand what I said to you. Could you please listen to what I'm saying to you, and then you question me the depth of it.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that Trinidad and Tobago has been run. All the decisions were made in Trinidad. We have to implement them in Tobago. You reading me?
Understood.
2, the country, including the Parliament, you know, we can pass laws here. This was passed by the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago.
Understood.
Follow me well. Stop the nonsense talk like how we talk in Trinidad. But every time you say Tobago, people say, well, it's a nation of Trinidad and Tobago, consists of 2 islands.
No, but until we do have that level of autonomy that we are aiming towards, we are still
trying to help
Trinidad and Tobago.
Janelle, I'm trying to help you. Chanel or whatever. I'm trying to help you. The Parliament of Trinidad, the country of Trinidad and Tobago, decided, follow me well, decided that you see these matters, we in Trinidad will not make any more decision on them. So Trinidad and Tobago, we did that. Trinidad and Tobago, so we going to give Tobago, we are allowing you to do this for yourself. So the vision that they came up with is to be implemented in Trinidad, not in Tobago. Tobago House of Assembly was put in place by legislation of the country passing the National Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. Don't we mix up this thing, you know? We are still Trinidad and Tobago nation. Right. Do you have a say in the regional corporation in Trinidad? Does anybody in Tobago have any say with what they're doing with local government in Trinidad? The powers that they give to a regional corporation.
We will get to those things later on in the interview. I am trying to help you with as we talk about the Tobago involvement.
The point I'm making is, the point I'm making is, because of that fact that Tobago have no say as to how the local bodies are run in Trinidad, they in Trinidad have no say how Tobago is run. They have done that by law and given it to us.
But Mr. Charles, you still have not answered the question in regards to how do we bridge the gap regarding the national vision for the advancement of the country on a whole, and the vision that the current administration has for Tobago. How do we bridge the gap to ensure that we as Tobagonians are heading towards a place that we could see the development, not only as Tobago, but both as Trinidad and Tobago? Now, we have the THA Act, and we have the THA so that we can further our own personal agenda. But can it really happen in the absence of the national vision?
School to sit down to lay the
can it happen in the absence of the national vision? Isn't it?
There is no national vision. Could you tell me what the national vision is? There is none. So when I started off telling you that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and I became Chief Secretary on the 11th day of December 1996. Follow me well. Is your question I'm answering to tell you there is no national vision? We met...
The National Development Strategy of Trinidad and Tobago, this is what we're talking about at the point in time. Are you aware of that one?
But you're not following me at all.
Are you aware of the National Development Strategy?
What is that? Could you tell me?
The National Development Strategy, this was created by the Ministry of Planning, and this was led by...
You want to pause a little bit to hear what I'm saying? The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago met...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We met at Grafton, and we sat down and we said, Prime Minister, we need to have a national vision for Trinidad and Tobago. But because of the fact that our circumstances are different, you are oil and gas based, we are more service industry, tourism, agriculture, whatever in Tobago. Could we now have a... Don't come with preconceived things, you know.
No, Mr. Charles, but we're talking about the vision and how it includes Tobago and Tobago's advancement as well.
I don't want us to be fighting or arguing.
No, we're not fighting or arguing, Mr. Charles. It's interesting that we have...
I listen to you attentively, you know.
We have various views on the matter, and that is great for democracy. And so it is important to understand how you see Tobago...
I'm not even finished telling you what I was telling you.
Go ahead, Mr. Charles.
We sat there, and I said, Prime Minister, this is how we should go about doing it. That Tobago, the House of Assembly, with this responsibility, will write a development plan for Tobago. And you, as government of Trinidad, will write a plan for Trinidad based on the circumstance. We will send ours to you, because Trinidad and Tobago we're dealing with, right? We're truly two different situations, right? Two circumstances, two different.
Right.
You want to integrate them, and we will have a truly development plan for Trinidad and Tobago. The Prime Minister was sitting like that with his hand like this. And I said, I see the problem. I said, Prime Minister, how do you assess your performance? You have no standard set. You get up tomorrow morning, you want to build a smelter, use the word smelter plant, and the people protest, they burn tires. You get up tomorrow because there is no plan that the people know of, and that is why the energies of the country is not used to facilitate that, because they don't know about it. How do you measure your performance against what you have nothing? We prepared our plan, pass it in the House, the 42 villages in Tobago, and send it down to the government. They sent back for 36 more copies because we didn't have 41 members in the House. We had 36. We sent down they sent for 36 more. We finished road. They have not written a line. None of them. None of the government, the parties that become government, write a line in Trinidad. And I can't tell you what the Attorney General told me at a meeting in '99 at Mount Irving. That I embarrassed the government. He better tell you, we embarrassed the government. And I said, well, you may embarrass the government. We never did anything to embarrass them. And he said, you all write a plan, you know, I have no resources. We can't write one in Trinidad. And the United Nations, the UNDP came here at our final approval meeting in Signal Hill Comprehensive School and oversighted. You know what they said? We are trying to get government all over the world from 1948 to do what you all have done in Tobago. And none of them have done it. So I know the problem between Tobago and Trinidad is one, where Tobago was actually moving forward and leave Trinidad. And I can't tell you the adjective to describe what is actually happening. So when you are telling me today that there is a national because it comes from Trinidad, what is done in Tobago is also national. That is the idea that I was trying to, if you notice, I stopped when you were talking. What is done in Tobago is national. What is done in Trinidad is national. Because we have two islands that come together according to the Constitution too, and form the nation they call Trinidad and Tobago. So when I hear this is national, and I ask people, what are you saying? And Tobagonians using that nonsense term. About because it comes from Trinidad is national. This is a national. What is national? What is done in Tobago and what is done in Trinidad? People believe that is only when it comes from Trinidad at that level, it is national. What is national?
Mr. Charles, when did you guys have this conversation with the Prime Minister?
1997.
And since then?
We wrote a development plan and sent it down in 1998.
Right.
We passed it in the House. And our development plan are 4 different documents, and not one document, and it's there in the assembly, you can get it. You don't know about it?
And do you believe that all the elements of that development plan
No,
that was sent down in 99 is all of it? Do you believe that it is still relevant to the economic environment that we are in today?
And when I leave here today, I will try and get a copy of our manifesto that pull out 4 years of that plan and hand it to you. In 2001, the people at Tobago said we didn't want that. So, now they recognize the problem. Let me just tell you quickly, very quickly. There are 4 documents that consist of that plan. One is the process of planning. How you go about planning for a country. That document is laid out. Like the first report of the plan. The second one is the medium-term policy framework. Remember, every time the budget comes out, there's always a document from trade that comes out, they call the medium-term policy framework, which is actually 3 years of how the government see that they must do. The third document is what we call the strategic plan. Looking at Tobago, looking at Trinidad and Tobago in that context, looking at Tobago in the context of the Caribbean, and looking at Tobago in the context of the world, what was happening, including how we happening to. Had we done that plan, we would not be in the problem we have now, even for foreign exchange. Let me just finish the four document. You're quick to talk. Yeah. I'm very serious, you know. The one is strategic plan. When you look at that, we said, in order to engage the world at this stage, Tobago, these are the strategic things that you must do in order to allow you to become what you want to become. And the final document is what we call the Integrated Development Plan of Tobago. But the sectorial plans out of that had to be done. They were not done. We lose the government. We lose the government and nothing happening. Everything. That way Barry was saying, everything keep going down so. To almost meet the point of no return right now. And I hope we spend some time to discuss what's happening in Tobago right now.
Definitely, as well as the THA involvement at the central government. But because we are hard pressed for time, Mr. Charles, we have to take.
You all must not call me when you have 5 minutes.
We have to take a break, and we will be back right after the break. See you guys soon.
I'm very serious.
How it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna. Better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong.
Guys, good morning. Good morning again. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and welcome back to GMT here on Tobago Updates. Now, we have been having quite an intense discussion this morning here with our first ever Chief Secretary on the island of Tobago, Mr. Ho-Choi Charles, a guy who functions as a historian and a one who sees himself not only as a politician but as a leader. And before we left off during the break, we were talking a lot about the vision for Tobago and the strategy moving forward. Now, I held the position that Tobago's vision should be a cross-section between what the forefathers and individuals who created the basis for what the THA Act is now should be an intersection of the new vision for Tobago that is held by the current administration, allowing them to execute their vision while also being integrated into the wider vision for Trinidad and Tobago, which is Vision 2030, that has been established by this current administration at the central government level. Now, Mr. Charles has quite different views from mine, and which he's allowed to come on the platform and express, but we can't spend too much time on this one topic. And so as we move forward and we talk about the business of Tobago, Mr. Charles, do you think that fixing the politics of Tobago has to do with implementing the strategy or the development plan that you guys worked on and submitted in 1998? Is that your idea of fixing the politics on the island of Tobago?
There has to be a structure in place to implement your responsibilities, your legal responsibilities. First of all, because this is your responsibilities in this. That what law is, the tool for implementing public policy is law. And this says what the Assembly is responsible for. And it's there in Section 25 and the 5th Schedule of the Tobago Assembly Act. As you said, we don't have no time to go through that this morning. I read that to run an education school for even you, all of you. I'm serious. When I come here, God says, you only speak the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts people, but the truth must be spoken. That is what the Assembly is there to implement these. And how they must implement them, the law prescribes the limit, how far they can go and what they can do. We are not now in a position to implement the things that are there because of the leadership in Tobago. And for a long time, 20-something years. And I didn't recognize that. I know that something was wrong after I was out of office. That's what Barry was saying. When Mr. Charles started, we started to do something. I want Tobago 200 million. Started to do something. And afterwards, the thing started to go down. And I recognized that in 2013. Quickly, very quickly, we laid the foundation for what you're asking. In 2013, when the PNM won all 12 seats in Tobago, and Mr. London called me on the 31st day of January 2013, because he didn't know what to do. He wrote the president and said, I want 2 councillors as opposition in the House. And then he called me. That was the 21st of January, 2013 was the election. He wrote those letters by the 22nd or 23rd or something like that. And by the 31st, he called me. And we sat. He told me what his problem was. That's how the forum was formed. And I asked him, you have a government? What are you doing in your opposition? You don't have a government. All your power still in the parliament in Trinidad. We need to have that here. That is how the document that before parliament went down there. And I say that to say that is at that stage and during the forum when it was formed, so that we could be able to fix the Tobago problem, that I know that Mr. London and none of them in the THA knew the Tobago Assembly Act. That is why the structures have not been in place. To date, the structure for the implementation of the 5th schedule item here, not in place.
Mr. Charles, but you function as an advisor. You hold a number of workshops with this current administration. However, in one of the in the last session they had let the people speak, you said we had 21 years of mismanagement and then we had 1 year
of nonsense,
of nonsense and foolishness. Those were your words.
I was very constrained.
Are you indicating that this foolishness is happening so you intervene? Or is this foolishness happening because what you are advising is inadequate, or is it not being taken into consideration?
Ready for the answer? I'm saying to you that I was called by the chief secretary and he wanted me to be his advisor. There was a conversation that took place and I said, that's not how I do business. Let's sit down and discuss what you want. And that could have been somewhere about after 6 months in office or 4. And I met with him and we agreed on certain things. And I said, no, you need a team. So there's a team of us which he announced prematurely. Announced a team prematurely. I need to say that. I only have a truth to know. There are certain things I would not say here and will not say in public until something else happens. So we met with the team, Mr. Richards, Miss Melville and I, because he mentioned the names in public. We agreed, I went, he didn't have any other name, and I said, these 2 people are the other 2 persons that I would want to work with in order to do what you want to have done. Because you all do have a clue about this act. And up to now, we don't understand it, they don't understand it. There's a process to be done to allow us to be your advisors. That was, I tell you, about 6 months. That process was not completed until the 5th day of December, 2022. Because they did not know what was required to be, how do we prepare it? And I want to be constrained by not giving you too much details here now because we have to have a conversation very, very soon on that. So that process, we did not become any advisor until the 5th day of December. This is 1 day short of their 1 year in office. Immediately, because of the discussion we were having before, we ran a program for them that should have been run at the beginning of their term in December. The one they run at Rovanel, called it orientation. And we could not call this orientation because it's 1 year after. So we called it review. A review of the system and structures for the assembly to be able to discharge the function under the 5th schedule. Nothing is in place to deliver that. So what we did, we finished the documentation. The 7th, 8th, we were officially on board when? On the 5th day of December. They win the election on the 6th, the year before. And I'm saying something to you. So by the 7th, 8th, and 9th, it was so urgent because things that were supposed to be done for a year, we now have to try to complete these things within a matter of less than a month so that to allow them to function. So we run a program for them on the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And let me just say that quickly to you. On the 7th, we ran a program down there, and I'll tell you what it is, for all the chief secretary and all the secretaries, assistant secretaries, without the administrators. On the next day, which was the 8th, we ran a similar program for the administrators, all of them. Because as you know, policy making is for the executive and the secretaries, and the implementation of those policies is for the administrators. We did not want both of them to be together because 1 year in office, you never could tell. There might have been problems, conflict, and we imagined that that was that meant. And it was so. And on the 9th, both teams came together. What a wonderful session. We prepared with a PowerPoint. We prepared after that a document which we gave to all of them. It wasn't delivered there, it was sent to them afterwards. What we call the Code of Engagement to guide the relationship between the policymakers, which are the secretaries, and the administrator. What a wonderful session. They have that document in a position. We have completed some other document in that since then. The procurement process with all this thing about contract awarding with nonsense. We prepare a process of procurement because we have gone through that. We, in my administration, we went through those kind of stuff with the legal basis why you can't do this, who can't do that, and we sit with you to tell you. We have no, Senda, there's no meeting. We have not had a meeting with the chief since the 30th of December, or the last meeting.
And you guys are the group of advisors.
You hear what I'm saying to you? So what you're seeing out there, and I am constrained, I can't say everything, and I would not say to you and in the public, because there are some things that we talk in public, even at the forum that took place there. Because Molière would have said, there's a French philosopher, the only thing government cannot do is to change a man into a woman and a woman into a man. We go out in the public and make these statements among us in Tobago, but in the media. And when you do that, there are things that ought not to be said there, that government will put stumbling block in your way by passing legislation.
But
It
Mr.
has
Charles,
happened, you know.
do you think it's a conflict for you to be publicly in the media stating that the things that you have stated while being on the on this group of advisors?
What
that
have
is
I said in the public that is in
is
conflict with anything
that is
goes
current?
contrary to that?
Well,
you notice I haven't told you anything more than just what we have done.
Well, you indicated that
Could
the
you
first
tell
year
me
was
what?
a year of
No,
those.
you are asking me something
you
that if
indicated
you don't
that
think... Go ahead.
within the first year, it was total foolishness. So
But
now,
a fact.
So now that
And
you are
everybody
there
knows that it is so.
in this group of advisors.
That is why we become advisors, in order to bring back the executive on track, because they are all young. I didn't say... The chief secretary said that, you know. When he went into office, he said, none of us have any experience in government or so on. He said so. And after a year, there's nobody to guide them there. And we have come on board to guide you there. So what I state is a statement of fact confirming what the chief secretary said. So I've not said anything contrary to what he has not said. Did he say that on your program? I'm sure that I look at Tobago this when he said that here. None of us have any experience in government at all. So for the first year, they have been trying out something, and we recognize it's not working. Up to now, it's not working. So we are now to guide them. And I just make a statement that we met with the chief secretary. Our team met with the chief secretary on the 30th of December. 3 weeks have gone, and I have not told you anything about me in an intervening period. That is not for me to talk to you about yet. But I'm just saying, as a matter of fact, we have not, as advisors, met with him since the 30th of December. Just leave it. The rest I can't tell you. So what is happening out there? Because my name and the name of my team has to be protected. I said that to the chief secretary when we met the first lady. That's why I tell you, when he called me, I said we need to meet. And I'm saying this, don't be too quick to talk. When I finish, you have a chance to ask me any question you want to ask me. And I'm saying to you, I have
Mr.
a name
Charles,
to protect.
We are hard pressed for time, so I'm just trying to make sure that we are able to cover as much basis as we can.
You take up a lot more time than over. Hold on. I'm saying to you that I have a name to protect. The group has a name to protect, because what is happening now, you don't understand the difficulty here. I'm saying this. Things are happening in the public that are not good. Contractors not paid. Little people in the society who have given services and goods to the assembly have not been paid. Little people, 300,000, 400,000, a lot of other stuff that I can't mention. We will tell you how to do that. What to do with that we can't meet. And people believe we are the advisors who are advising you to do them. So understand where I'm coming from. I can't tell you what is going to happen. But we have not been advising. The administrator's position, I've come here and said it before, that we need to fix the administrators who is the top of the public service in Tobago. We come here and say that their salary is 69% lower than a PS in Trinidad, although the job spec is the same, prepared by the same CPO. We need to fix that. We prepare the document to fix that. That has not been fixed. So you have to fix the politics and fix the administration, or else you can't deliver no service. We have also prepared other documentation for the assembly. The performance management system that they should use is prepared already by the team. You have not seen this since December. We have also prepared, from what we observe, the way the offices are structured and how they function. They don't have any staffing, they have no structure. We prepare that also, how the office of the chief secretary should be structured and what should be the human resource in there to allow you to be able to answer your phone. You don't have to answer the calls. I was a chief secretary, the first, and I dealt with every phone call. And we didn't have all this new technology as today. So they don't know. And we come to help you. And we have prepared even that, the system and the structure for each secretary's office and the administrator's office. How it should be done to allow you to have the chance to review what you have to review. You would have to do everything. You'd have to answer the calls and so on.
Mr. Charles, well,
That I'll be prepared.
we expect to see an improvement in government based on the involvement of this new
They don't know, and
advisory
we're not
team.
preparing it for them
So
after 1 year.
Can you tell us what type of improvement we should be able to see based on the involvement of your advisory team?
I am just saying to you, I can't tell you what you expect. If they only meet and we put the system in place. You remember people talk about my administration? Deliver so many things in Tobago, including your free tertiary education for Trinidad and Tobago. All of that with 300 million. With no system, no structure, no nothing. We put them things in place while we were delivering services because we know. And we wanted to share that with this present young, new administration that don't have any experience in government. We want to do that. So after we meet with them and we do that, we could be able to answer the question you're asking me. What you expect?
In relation to
They will be able to have all and deliver all fifth schedule items, so you will not have the problem you're having with contractors paying the bills. You will not have the problem with the society. The roads are all bad. The public, the private sector is all in disarray. We won't shut down.
Mr. Charles, a number of persons have spoken out and suggested that maybe in order for the Chief Secretary to function as its optimum, that he should consider dropping the post of Finance Secretary. Tell us what are your perspectives on this? No, we have moved on to another
answer,
question.
You ask it, you want to go over the question again. Let me take time and go move. You say you have no time. I'm saying to you, I was secretary. I was chief secretary, secretary for finance, secretary for public administration, secretary for planning, secretary for works and infrastructure, because we only have 5 secretaries. So I am saying to you, that's not the issue. You don't sit down and write everything. You put a system, and I had to put it in place because there was nothing. The law was passed the day of the election. This was passed the day of the election. The next day, it becomes law to be implemented in Trinidad and Tobago on the 10th of December. I was inaugurated as chief secretary on the 11th, and nothing was in place. No physical structure, no managerial structure, no staffing, nothing. And we deliver that kind of service, and people talking about that performance with 300 million. So I with that experience, trying to help this administration. And if they don't really buck up, I'm serious, If the chief secretary and they don't meet and buck up, you will hear it in public. I don't associate myself with foolishness. I want to say that. Sorry, I have to say, but the truth. I didn't come here to. I hold a lot of stuff because of what I tell you about Molly. You can't say everything in the public, and Tobago have to be careful about that because of my experience. Even at these talk shows that we have, there are things that people come and say, and you don't know you are telegraphing something. People don't want Tobago to become something. If you know that, you're not going to say something in public because you know the government can pass a law and prevent that when you're ready to do it. It can't be done because a law is passed to obstruct you. I know that's a fact that has been done in Trinidad and Tobago. This is why we don't come and say certain things in the public. These are for family, which is Tobago. This one a school, an internal school for me to teach you and for us to teach.
And I do believe that level of public education is necessary. But we have to move along. So when we talk about business and politics, a number of businessmen in the space have come out and they have spoken extensively. And many have expressed their disgruntlement with the current administration because of the whole
I'm just telling you, the government is facilitator.
Right? Last week, I had Mr. Demi-John Cruikshank, who is one of the former chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And he indicated that in order for us to move forward, especially with the businessmen here on the island, he suggested a call for the banks, the administration, and businessmen to have a physical meeting of the minds. Tell us, what do you think about that suggestion?
It took place already, and what happened? Those things took place already. What happened? And that's why I tell you, not everything you can say here. You remember if you look at the forum that took place there, when Dr. James spoke, and he said, these things that we're now discussing, when I go to speak, I said the same thing. These things that we are now discussing in 2022 were completed to be done in 1999, 1998, 1999, 2000. We are now putting it in place, including the Development Bank for Tobago. including the development bank. If you get a copy of you see my bag there? I don't want to deal because I have no time. This is why I pay and run my program to educate Tobagonians. You follow me? If you read my independence address in 1999, you will see what we're talking about the credit unions and how we'll deal with them, and the development bank for Tobago and what it will do for the population, for the business community. So when they finish with that talk, what is going to happen?
And why
Could
do you think
in
2023 we are still having these conversations?
The leadership change.
So
and we were thinking, you and Almost was thinking too, you know, that leadership, that they're too old, it's too old. Them too old to be in office now, we want some young people. And I say to people, hello, our problem in the Caribbean is not the age of your leaders, you know. It's not the age, because you had age leaders before this one here now. You see where they dismantle this whole place. They didn't know what to do. And now you have young ones, they don't know what to do. So it is not the age of the leader is your problem, it's the character of your leader. It has nothing to do with leadership. The character has to do with the leadership. And that's what we're lacking here.
So you talk about the implementation of the structures in order for us to be able to...
Pardon me, repeat it.
I say you spoke about the implementation of the structures in order to adequately implement the THA Act.
It was not in place.
Exactly.
We're now trying to...
Well, this is what you said earlier during the interview. So as we wind up the conversation, your advice in regards to business and politics on the island, the type of structure specific to getting the businessmen in Tobago.
You can't talk that when you don't have the business people, you said, approach even the executive here. Huh? Because we just talk about paying off the hotels and so on for the what you call the reserve capacity. Even that, we advise on that, you know. We advise on that too. I don't want to say more on that. And some people were omitted. And we have not met to find out why and how. We have advised on a lot of stuff that I can't talk to you about. We can't talk about them. We advise on the administrators. We advise on the structure that you need to put in place. But something has to be done with the Salary Review Commission. Something has to be done with that. All of those we prepare now. So if the structure, the managerial structure and infrastructure is not in place, you can't deliver nothing to the business community. They could plan where they want to plan. Because remember, government is a facilitator. When you do investment, the government, you have to provide, private sector don't provide water, private sector don't provide electricity, private sector don't provide the roads, private sector don't provide a hospital and health services. Those things are the enabling environment to allow the business to perform. Plus the question of finance. That's one of the enabling environment that the assembly has to put in place to allow what they may talk to you about and what you are hearing by the chamber to be done. Those things we advise you on.
So at the bottom line of the conversation, you are stating that the development plan that your administration had worked on and submitted to the central government in 1998 is the basis for the kind of economic advancement
that was
and business success here on the island of Tobago.
Yes, that the people...
So when we look back at this conversation that we had here this morning, and for the business community that's looking on, as well as the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and for the individuals who would have made their contributions during that session, at the basis of it, the implementation of that development strategy.
Of anything, because circumstances may have been changed, some wonderful things may need to be changed, but I'm just pointing out to you. The budget is ready in Trinidad. The national budget, very quickly, is running in Trinidad, in the parliament in Trinidad, for Trinidad and Tobago. They give you a $2-point-something billion. That $2-point-something billion is sent here for the administration in Tobago to deal with the 65,000 people here. I'm making that as a point. It is not for us to take it to give it to people, contractors coming from Trinidad, and leave yours unemployed. This is for the 65,000 people that live in Tobago. What we see now is quite contrary, because I'm saying the people are either ignorant or innocent of what the allocation to Tobago is to do. But we are Trinidad and Tobago. So in case we don't have the resource in Tobago, the human resource to do, or the capacity to do, the first place rather than going to St. Lucia, we'll go to Trinidad. But once you have it on here, you can't bring people not even from Trinidad. Because the budget is, let me say, 52 billion. They give you 2 and keep 50 for Trinidad.
But do you
So the
truly
two
think
that
that
come
this
here is Tobago.
administration is bypassing contractors in Tobago
But you saw that?
who have the capacity to perform the job within
But
the
I'm just saying
time
that
specified,
I
and
am
they are
s-
bypassing those contractors to
I'm
go
not
to
talking
Trinidad
about
contractors?
bypassing nothing they have not given them. That's the evidence out there.
But is it in relation to the procurement plan that you are submitting?
That will support that nonsense.
Right. Is it a plan that would suggest that we are supposed to just give contracts to any one contractor as opposed to them having the capacity to fit the criteria?
There's a process, you know, there's a process that is involved.
So how do we talk about giving them a
You're asking me
contract?
101 question in one, and you expect one answer. When you ask one, stop. There's a process that you have to follow. You have to invite tender. There's a whole process, and it is in the financial rules how you go about this. So even the process is there that you need to follow, so you can award contract. But we have Tobagonians who can do that. Yes, Tobagonian built this White York Stadium, man. And I don't want to go through that to tell you how it was done. A Tobagonian built it. Most of the things that we have been doing in Tobago and you're asking other people to do in Tobago, we have been doing it before I born. Building roads and buildings in Tobago is what Tobagonians were doing long before I was born.
All right, Mr. Charles, and unfortunately we have run out of time to ask any further questions, but it is important that we know the importance of your contribution here this morning regarding business and politics on the island and the type of structures that need to be implemented in order for us to successfully serve the business community here on the island. A lot of commotion has been in the public space in regards to the awarding of contracts, the payment of outstanding contracts, and a number of other issues that have to deal with Tobago's economic advancement.
And that's why I talk and tell you I don't want my name to be out there as the advisor to the chief secretary and the executive that allow these things to happen. We're no party. We don't even know.
Mr. Charles, I wish that we had more time for this, so hopefully you can come back and we have part 2 of this discussion.
I'm always prepared.
Well, we are always welcoming you here on the platform.
And I want to say to you in love, that don't take so long to ask one question.
No problem, sir. Guys,
love
we thank you so much for joining us here on Tobago Updates for Good Morning Tobago. We had an extremely interesting and intense conversation here with Mr. Charles. You know, he's always his teacher self, always in teacher mode.
That's the first job I did, you know.
Always here to educate the population and educate his host when he comes on, whenever he's here. And we thank you, and we really do value your contributions to the political space. It's always good when we could come and have a little political banter, but it's all in the spirit of Tobago's advancement and offering that education that is needed and allowing young persons to seek more interest in politics and what is happening in the political forum. We are trying to have this conversation that would enlighten the business environment as to what the current administration is doing, while also enlightening the current administration on some of the issues being faced by the business community and what are some of the suggestions to improvement. You have discussed that the structure is needed. And so there are a number of other recommendations that would be made as we go along for this series of business and politics. And guys, look forward to every Tuesday. I'm going to be sitting here with a different stakeholder. Hopefully the conversations are going to be as intense as this one was this morning. And we're going to continue to have that conversation that you want to have and ask the questions that you want to ask to really help push Tobago's development forward. Guys, hopefully you might see me here tomorrow. Who knows? Enjoy the rest of your day, and we thank you again for being loyal listeners and viewers to Tobago Updates. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.